Hello, coffee makers, not coffee takers. I am Alfredzo B. Nash Jr., and he is Dr. Joseph J. Burt-Miller Jr. We are your hosts of the Cyber Coffee Hour podcast. We are two products of Mount Vernon, New York, sharing with you our experiences and stories and those of our amazing guests. We aim to share knowledge, elevate understanding, and foster a sense of belonging in this vast cyberspace. For today's show, we will have some fun, and today we'll watch a demo of NerdHerd TryHackMe Room performed by 16-year-old phenomenal Bandana Kaur. How are you doing today, Banda?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Cool.
All right. Bandana Kaur, a 16-year-old cyber enthusiast from New Delhi, India, stands out as a Cisco certified ethical hacker and ISC Square certified in cybersecurity. In 12th grade, Bandana is forging a path in technology, aiming for a bachelor's in technology with a focus on computer science and cybersecurity. Bandana's experience includes a Microsoft Future Ready Talent internship where she worked on security technologies in Azure and artificial intelligence and machine learning. Bandana, Bandana is skilled in OSINT and web penetration testing. Bandana is also honing her programming skills through Harvard's coursework, specializing in Python and AI, and has earned Python and SQL certifications from HackerRank. A vocal advocate for diversity in tech, she is recognized as a leading Gen Z voice in cybersecurity, using social media to simplify complex cyber concepts. Academically stellar, she scored 98% in her 10th grade exams and is open to collaborations to make cyberspace livable. Bandana Kaur, welcome to the Cyber Coffee Hour.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, very excited about to have you here today, and for those listening and watching, this is gonna be a little different from how we normally do things. Um, what we're going to do is first we're just going to get right into it, just learn more about this amazing person that we have joining us today in Bandana Core. And then we're in for a treat, so get your popcorn ready, settle in as we'll watch a demo as she tackles on one of the Try Hack Me rooms. So it should be fun, should be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. um I definitely have your notes ready. Pen and pad out. Take some notes as well, because I'm sure you can learn something. But cool. Let's get right into it. All right. So Bandana, so when we talk about cybersecurity, um, everyone that's you know whether in this field or trying to merge into it, but and everyone may have different maybe have their different motivations as to why they want to get in cybersecurity. But as far as for you, what are how has cybersecurity specifically impacted you and your very early start into your career?
So, when I first started doing cybersecurity and learning ethical hacking innocent, I didn't really approach it as more of a career path. It was more of something to keep me occupied right after I went through a bad experience on social media. And it is kind of ironic because when you think about it, it's the media and pop culture and TV shows that usually portray cybersecurity and tech professionals in such a stereotypical way. And it was that very media that encouraged me to actually start in cybersecurity because like we talked in the pre-show meeting, I watched Salvation on Netflix, and in that TV series there's this girl Alicia who is the female leader of a hacker group, and she is just totally incredible. And the moment that I saw her, I really wanted to be like her. I wanted to be her. So then I started learning cybersecurity. And the thing is, while I am, exploring and learning this field, I realized one very big thing, that the impact that cybersecurity professionals and that we have is really, really powerfully human, in the sense that cybersecurity, especially in the field of cybersecurity, cyber safety, directly connects to our daily lives. And that's one of the things I learned while I was exploring OSINT and social media intelligence. Because I was the type of person who would post pictures of my food. I would post pictures of every single place I went to. And when I got into cybersecurity and when I became aware of those kinds of threats, it just made me realize how much I've been exposing about myself online. So that's
Right.
one of the ways that learning cybersecurity has really benefited me. I've become a lot more cyber safe as a teenager and as a member of the Gen Z community. And the biggest thing that cybersecurity has, impacted me is that I've become a much more passionate learner than I was before, because I was always the type of person who would just pick up a hobby, try it for 7 days and just leave it at that whenever it started getting tough. But the thing is, when I started in cybersecurity, I had that same feeling. I'm gonna leave this in a month. I'm gonna leave this in a year. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't tell my parents I was doing anything of the sort. So, and eventually, that passion that I had, it just grew and grew, and and really fell in love with doing CTFs and listening to some good music and just having my own little moment. And that love of mine hasn't faded until now, at least, and I
Right.
hope it doesn't. So I've become much more resilient when it comes to learning, and cybersecurity has been a blessing for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When you so as you mentioned, as you share that and just having that passion for cybersecurity, um, I understand. Everyone has their story, has their path as to how they got to where they are. But as far as for you, like, what are some of the things that you had to encounter, or any obstacles that you had to deal with along your journey?
Like I mentioned, it was a big obstacle for me that nobody actually had any idea that I was doing this, and I really believed that, okay, it's just gonna be a month from now, and I'm gonna be sitting in my room. I'm gonna be bored and tired of this. But and that's one of the things that posed as a major obstacle for me, because my family had no idea, my parents had no idea I was learning cybersecurity. So I had no source of guidance or motivation. Lack of guidance, it really made me stray here and there, and sometimes I would pick up a TryHackMe room, leave it halfway, and then I would do some OSINT challenges, leave them halfway. And I really stumbled and fumbled here and there, and that's how I learned, and that's how I still learn. And it's really benefiting me. And another challenge that I faced was the way that I actually started. Because when I started, I was 13 years old. I had just gone through one of the most traumatic experiences of my life, and I was just trying to find something to keep my mind occupied at that time. So I started coding. I would spend my afternoons and my evenings mostly brooding. But when I started coding, I started brooding as well as coding. So it didn't really make much of a difference. But then as time progressed, I really realized that, this has been a blessing for me, that I've actually found my passion through that bad experience that I went through. And that's one of the major obstacles that I had to overcome.
Okay, so while you're coding and brooding, what was your coffee choice or preference while you were diving down the rabbit hole and rescuing yourself in cybersecurity? What was your preference of coffee?
Chocolate frappuccinos forever. Chocolate frappuccino.
Nice chocolate frappuccinos. Any
Cool.
particular, like, is there a vendor that you go to, or do you make it yourself?
My dad makes really good coffee, and
Nice.
I also like
Nice.
Starbucks.
Starbucks. Okay, nice.
So
Is that for all you use that when you go to the TryHackMe rooms too? Is that by your side while you're tackling the rooms?
Yeah, most of the time.
Nice.
Most of the
that's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess so. Outside of that, of course, because even as you described, I could just hear the passion come through as you're speaking. But what are some of the things that you like to do when you're not in those hacking rooms, or just not you know doing anything related to cybersecurity? Like, what are some of those hobbies, interests that you have outside of that?
Yeah, so The thing is, a lot of people think that I'm, not living out my childhood the way that I should, because I'm, of course, focusing on my career at such a young age. But, cybersecurity is a passion for me. And other than that, I have a life too. And I really like to paint my nails. I
There you
really
go.
like, I've been boxing for about 3 years now. And I recently started learning Muay Thai, and that's really fun.
Oh,
Boxing.
well.
So wait, back up. You do offensive security rooms in cyber, and you go on the offensive in boxing. Is there a linkage there? Do you like the offensive track? Do you see yourself as like a defender or more offensive security, or is it both right now?
I can see myself as both.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. So, I think it's pretty interesting, as you mentioned, with boxing. So with that, are you into like UFC, like Ultimate Fighting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Now, did you see UFC 300, one that just passed?
Nah,
Okay.
I'm all in 12th grade right now. I don't.
Okay, I got you.
Right.
No, but that's cool. I mean, you getting it in. I mean, you got that boxing, eat with the painted nails on, letting
Right.
people know. I think that's pretty cool.
Do you have
Oh,
custom tapes or custom gloves or anything like with that match the nails?
I just, I just use red hand wraps and
Nice.
silver gloves.
Nice. Why UFC specifically? Like, why not traditional boxing or kickboxing?
Watch Muay Thai matches. I watch UFC, and I really enjoy all of them.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah.
So that's great. That's great. Yeah, you you're a cyber professional. You can't be messed with because I think a lot of cyber pros, they get the reputation for being nerds and not being able to do much physically. But no, you're no joke. Nobody can mess with you.
Contender.
Yeah. All right. So that said, I think so. We'll go into the main events. I'm sure as you
Right.
hear a lot within boxing boxing matches. But yeah. So the main event for us today is the Try Hack Me demo. So everyone listening, watching, get ready. Like I said, just prepare yourselves, get settled, and it should be a good show. So we'll see you on the other side.
Awesome.
So, for those of you who are not familiar with TryHackMe or TryHackMe's environment, basically I'm connected to TryHackMe's OpenVPN, which is going to allow me to access any of the target machines that I start through this website. So now that I can see the IP address, let's get hacking. So first off, I'm just gonna use a simple built-in command to export that IP address or store it in the form of a variable so that I don't have to type it out over and over again in this particular terminal window. So here I'm just going to perform a really simple port scan on my target, and what a port scan basically does is it tells you what services are running on different ports on your target machine so that you have an idea of what to exploit. I'll just type nmap. The hyphen V there stands for verbose output, which actually means that I'll be able to get the output from the scan simultaneously as that scan is running, as opposed to seeing the entire output after that scan is complete. I just personally prefer verbose output in case of CTFs because it saves up a lot of time when you're waiting for that scan to complete. So right off the bat, we can see ports 445, 21, 22 and 139 open, which means we have an FTP server. Now, just out of habit of doing CTFs, I know that in a lot of them anonymous login is allowed and the files contain hints to the CTF somehow. And as we guessed, anonymous login is indeed allowed, and there's some interesting files there, so let's check those out. Now, a setback of the ls command, and the reason why I am using ls-a in the first place, is because ls actually hides some of the directories and files in its output, which it considers invisible because their names probably start with a period. So, to show those files as well, I'm going to use ls-a. Now I found two interesting files here. The first is youfoundme.png, that's a picture, and the second is hellonerd.txt, that is a text file. Now I'm guessing that text file contains some sort of hint and that image might be really useful to us. So let's check those out. Alright, so there's nothing I would consider visually interesting about this image. So let's check out the metadata and see if we can find something interesting over there. Alright, so it looks like we have an owner name. But this owner name actually looks a lot more like gibberish than an actual name. So I'm gonna try Googling it. Maybe it's in some other language, or maybe it's encoded, who knows. So let's Google it. So here I can see that this name is probably a Visionaire cipher. So let's head over to CyberChef and try to decode it. Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna need a key to decode this one, and I don't have a key yet. So let's put this little piece of gibberish aside and let's focus on the next hint that we found, that is the text file. So it says all you need is in the leaked. So I'm guessing somehow our Nmap scan ended up missing port 1337. That's probably open here, and it is. Okay, just kidding, silly. I left something here for you to find. So let's scroll down a bit, and we have something right here that looks like a YouTube link, and it's a music video. Now the title of this video is Bird is the Word. So maybe bird is the key that we need to decode the message. Let's try it. Alright, that didn't really work the whole way, so let's try bird is the word. Alright, so we've got something. We've got our first hint, which is easy pass. So I'm guessing that's a password, but let's head back to our Nmap scan. Let's go back a couple steps and see if there's any other service that maybe we can exploit. Alrighty, so remember we found some Samba shares in the Nmap scan. So let's head back to those and see if we can access them. And I did an oopsie here. I forgot to add the -L for the host. Alright, so that NerdHerd classified share looks pretty interesting. So let's see if I can access that using my current user. NerdHerd classified. Okay, access denied. So I don't think we can access that using my current user. So since we don't have a username already, let's try enumerating that Linux machine further using enum for Linux and using that -u to try and maybe get some usernames or account names. Alright, so that was pretty fast. We have an account name that's called Chuck. So let's see if I can access those Samba shares using the username Chuck. And as for the password, well, I have yet to figure out that part, but wait, we found easy pass right after decoding this whole message. So I'm guessing the password is gonna be easy pass. Let's try it. Alright, so we're in. Now let's actually see what files are being shared here, and secret.txt looks pretty interesting, so let's get that one and then let's exit. Okay, don't tell anyone this because you deserved it this far. Check out, this is not a directory. Okay, so this is not a directory, is a directory. That's very interesting information, so let's check it out. And we have a little file here that's called creds.txt, and we have SSH credentials. Okay, now this is the part where I have to say a little something about why CTFs don't actually represent what happens in real life scenarios. Because let's be honest, in a real scenario, no one would actually, set it up this far, to give you a file that says, okay, visit this directory and this directory has my SSH credentials. Nobody is that dumb in real life. But you know what? For the sake of a CTF, it's really fun. So let's continue hacking. Okay, so the initial foothold part in this whole CTF was somewhat easy, so let's just SSH to Chuck at the IP address, and we're gonna enter that password right there. Okay, so you know how in movies, whenever somebody hacks into something, they're always like, I'm in that, really deep hacker voice. So this is our I'm in moment. Well, not really, because we haven't gotten to root yet, we haven't escalated our privileges, but we are in, so we have something to celebrate. Now, since I have got the first flag right here, which is in the text file called user.txt, I'm going to create another text file on my own system for the flags, and I'm going to store all the flags there. Okay, now like in most CTFs, I'm going to see which commands Chuck can run on NerdHerd by using sudo -l. Okay, sorry, user Chuck may not run sudo on NerdHerd. Not a problem. So let's try checking the kernel version, because maybe there are some vulnerabilities in that we might be able to exploit. So we have this kernel version right here. So let's do a little search on exploit.db, and we come across this vulnerability right here. So I'll just download that exploit, and I'm gonna transfer it to Chuck's machine, and then I'm gonna run it over there to escalate my privileges. So I'm using scp to copy that exploit file from my downloads directory to Chuck's home directory, and I'm going to paste it there as exploit.c. Alright, so now let's check if it has reached, which it has. Now I'm going to compile this code using GCC, and I'm going to output that into exploit. Alright, now that that's compiled, let's run the exploit. So moment of truth. Alright, so we are root now, and I'm gonna get that root flag real quick so we can end this room. And yeah, I forgot to mention, in this TryHackMe room, there is another flag that's other than the user and the root flag, which is a bonus flag. I'm hoping I can find that as well. Now let me check out which directory I'm in, because in most of these CTFs, what happens is that the root flag is actually in the root directory. So let's change directory to root, ls, and get that root flag. Okay, come on, wouldn't it be too easy if I place a root flag here? Okay, so the root flag is apparently not here. So let's actually use the find command to find the root flag. So you guys remember how we used ls-a command instead of ls to actually get all of the files, even the files whose names start with a period? Well, we're gonna search for a file whose name is period root.txt, because one thing I've learned doing this particular CTF is that there's a lot of things whose names start with odd characters. So I'm gonna search for .root.txt, and there we have it. So it is in the opt directory. I'm gonna switch to that, and so I'm gonna switch to that and get that root flag, hopefully. Okay, so I have the root flag now. Now I'm gonna add it to my flags.txt file, and now let's search for that bonus flag. Now, one of the things that was given on TryHackMe for the bonus flag was related to history and the past. So I'm going to change directories to root, and like I mentioned, there's a lot of things in this CTF which have, odd names and a lot of invisible things that need to show up. So I'm going to use ls-a in the root directory and then read the bash history, because, history and the past, it really relates. So maybe the bonus flag is in here. And as you can see, the bonus flag is right here. So I'm going to copy that, save that to my flags file, and we are done with this CTF. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little demo. Thank you so much to the wonderful hosts of the Cyber Coffee Hour podcast and to our lovely audience. And as always, happy hacking, everyone.